so much for being here. Today, I want to talk about one of the really necessary steps in healing that is incredibly difficult. And it's a step that can come early, like before you've even separated yourself from the narcissist or from abuse, or it may come after the fact, after you've been discarded or you have separated yourself and you're just beginning to pick up the pieces and trying to move on. Either way, it's a step that is incredibly difficult to move through, but it's an absolute must in being able to move forward. And that step is what I call absolute acceptance. And so here's the deal. If you take just one thing away from this video, let it be this. There is no way to move forward until you have absolute acceptance. And so what does absolute acceptance mean? It means that it is more about acknowledging that the negative behaviors or the abuse is happening and that they will not change. It's about you accepting what your reality is, being able to accept that this person is not good for you, that they will not change, and that they will continue to hurt you. Now, this is not to be mistaken that you are okay with the behavior or that you will continue to allow it, but instead, this is who this person is, and this is who this person will always be. So spending our time and efforts trying to understand why a narcissist does what they do is a lot less important than our ability to accept that they did it and that it wasn't good for you. And more importantly, that they will do it again. I myself got stuck here in this stage for multiple years. As I began to educate myself and realize what I was dealing with, my own reality was so difficult to accept that it took me close to 4 years before I absolutely accepted the severity of my situation. And more importantly, I accepted that he was who he was and that no matter what I did or didn't do or said or didn't say, that there was nothing that I could do to change him. And so I want to talk a little bit about what some of the barriers are that hold us back from absolute acceptance and why this step can be so difficult to move through. The first of the barriers is the idea that there are multiple truths or conflicting realities about this person, and that these realities don't really seem like they should go together. So in my case, my multiple truths were that this man was a motivator and he lifted me and others up in his personal training profession. And this man also berated, embarrassed, and cut me down both verbally and physically on the regular. Another example might be that you love this man. You want to see this man succeed and you do everything you can to support him. And you also want to break free from him, distance yourself from him, and move on from this man. So these are conflicting truths that seem like an odd pair, and yet they were both very true. Having contradicting truths is complicated. It makes us second guess the negative in hopes that the positive will hold a stronger weight, but it doesn't. And so I tell you this so that you are aware and you can recognize that multiple truths can exist. Another one of the major roadblocks that you may experience while you're seeking absolute acceptance is holding out hope. And holding out hope is supposed to be a good thing, right? Not in this case. You hold out hope for this person to change, hold out hope that they will keep promises made, hold out hope that maybe things will get better or that they will apologize or hold them or finally be accountable for their actions. Maybe that they'll finally understand where you're coming from, or even that you might in the future have a healthy relationship. But here's the deal. When you are finally able to lose that hope, you can begin to move on. When that hope is given, for them is given up and you're able to pour that hope into yourself, the rebuilding and the rewiring of yourself can begin. Another barrier that stops us from being able to have absolute acceptance is rumination. And this is just us obsessively thinking about the history that you have with this person, or all the horrific things that they have done to you, or maybe even all the great times that you had together. Unfortunately, there's not really an on and off switch that you can turn on your brain to stop this. And so my question to you with rumination is, what if you didn't try to stop it? What if you didn't try to make it go away? What if you just found a safe network, a group, a therapist, friends that allowed you to speak as freely as you needed about this subject? Tell your story. Tell it 1,000,000 times if you need. Get it out. Think of it as a cleansing or a way to kind of rid your body and your mind of all that toxicity. Trust me, at some point, you're going to get tired of your own voice. You're going to get tired of their stories, and you're going to get tired of this abuser taking up space in your head. Okay, so let's say you did it. You have absolute acceptance. You work through all the barriers. You realize that this person will not change and that they will continue to hurt you. Unfortunately, you're not in the clear yet, because with absolute acceptance comes grief and a whole host of other emotions. But grief is a big one. You're going to grieve the fact that the relationship will not improve. You might grieve that there's absolutely nothing that you can do about that fact. You're going to grieve time and experiences and other relationships lost, maybe a life that you didn't have but you thought that you would, or maybe the love that you never received but you definitely deserved. And when all of these emotions come to the surface, you need to be able to work through them. And one of the ways that you're going to do that is through your daily routine with things like movement and positive affirmations and gratitude and reframing thoughts and journaling and learning and laughing. These are all the ways that you're going to begin to occupy your time with productive activities that will build you up and begin to put the puzzle pieces of your life back together. One of the very first tasks that I begin to work on with my clients is helping them to prioritize, organize, and begin to hold them accountable to their daily routine. This daily routine alone is a great stepping stone so that you can have absolute acceptance and begin to take the steps needed to move forward into a life of freedom. So this is a routine that includes 7 pillars of self-care. And I call it She's Up with 2 P's, which is an acronym for standards, hearing, exercising, sitting, understanding, pen and paper, and planning. If you would like to learn more about She's Up and the different ways that you can work with me, I will link that here below for you. I hope that you found this video helpful and that you too can have absolute acceptance. Again, thank you for joining me. If you're new here and not a member of this community, please click the subscribe button. And if you'd like to support me, the best way to do so is by clicking that like button and maybe save this video or even share it. Remember, ladies, I'm rooting for you.